Hey everyone, and welcome to this very special edition of the AWS Nordics office hours. My name is Gunnar Grosch, and this time we are doing the ultimate guide to AWS Summit in Stockholm. And I have a bunch of guests joining me today. So I want to welcome my guests to begin with. So let's do a quick round of introduction and, basically start off with Yasir. Welcome to the show.
Hey everyone, my name is Yasir Jafar. I'm a solutions architect. I cover the enterprise segment in the Nordics and super excited about the summit.
Welcome. Let's continue to your left, right?
Hello, my name is Firdausi and I'm Solutions Architect at AWS as well, working along with Yasir for our enterprise customers in the Nordics. And super excited to see you all here today and to Stockholm Summit. Thank you.
Jumping down to Jessica.
Yes, hi everybody. My name is Jessica. I am a strategic startup account manager working in the Nordics and also responsible for the startup loft. So super excited to be here today.
Welcome, Jessica. Laura.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Hyatt. I'm the only one who's, I think, not from the Nordics. I live in the UK. I'm a solutions architect, but I'm the global solutions architect for Resilience Hub. So I cover any customers in the world looking to Resilience Hub. Very excited for today.
And finally, Andreas.
Hello everybody, and so great to meet you all. My name is Andreas Larsson. I'm working as a solution architect manager based here in Stockholm, working primarily with our SMB customers, operating both in Sweden, but we're also helping out throughout the SMB community in the Nordics. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you all at the summit tomorrow.
Based on the audio, it might sound that Andreas is calling from very far away, but he is actually in Stockholm, so he's very close to the summit. But hopefully the audio will be okay throughout this hour. All right, so as I mentioned, this is the ultimate guide to AWS Summit Stockholm. So we're going to walk you through a bit of what's going to happen at the summit coming up on Wednesday. So to begin with, I want to show you the agenda for the AWS Summit in Stockholm. So on Wednesday, we're starting out early with the registration from 7:45 in the morning. You can join us at Stockholmsmässan in Älvsjö to register, get your badge. Well, you should have pre-registered, of course, but you can get your badge to be able to go into the venue. And then from 9, we start out with a great keynote. The keynote this year will feature Deepak Singh, who is VP of Compute at AWS. He'll be joining us and talking, of course, a lot about what's happening in the compute space at AWS. We'll also be joined by our new managing director in the Nordics and for Benelux, Marielle, and she will walk us through what's happening in the region. And we'll also be joined by a couple of customers on stage throughout the keynote as well. Then from 10:15, we'll start off with breakout sessions. We'll have a lunch, of course, continue with breakout sessions throughout the day before finally having some networking in the expo towards the end. So that's a quick look at the agenda, but we'll dive into details, of course, throughout this hour now. So I want to start off with you, Andreas, because I know you have some cool stuff happening at the summit. So I think you want to share a short presentation and tell us a bit about what you're doing at the summit.
I'm more than happy to. Yes. So we have some really interesting things happening at the summit this year. One of those really spectacular things that we are bringing to the summit this year that we haven't done before is a new form of what we call the AWS Game Day. So a game day is usually it's an opportunity for individuals and teams to get hands-on with our services, trying out basically an environment alive in a risk-free environment and a gamified environment, getting points. So you're being handed out an environment from us, and it's your job as a team to keep that environment alive throughout the day. So what we have done now, we have taken that concept, we have condensed it down to 90 minutes compared to being a full day event. So in 90 minutes, we have created 4 separate quests that you need to solve throughout those days. and collect points as we go along. And we are doing this together with our partner Formula One. So we have created this concept called AWS Game Day featuring Formula One. So what's so special about this? Well, as I mentioned before, it's 90 minutes. It's not a full day. It's 90 minutes. We have plenty of time to explore all the other cool activities we have, such as Deep Racer, different presentations, different sessions. You will all plenty of time to look into those activities as well, and also join in on the game day. So the idea is that you are actually going to be put in the driver's seat at Unicorn Rentals Racing. A Unicorn Rental Racing have a lot of systems that they need to keep operational and a lot of activities that they want help with running. So we have facilitated 4 quests based on actual F1 data. So this is data sources actually brought in by the Formula One team that we use to create these teams or these challenges that you as a team can come in and help solve. And we'll of course have plenty of swag, and we have plenty of branding that will help you get into the mood and get into the concept. Okay, I'm really here to solve this F1 missions ahead. So what can I win? Of course, it's a competition. We are calling all hands-on and technical builders out there. Come in, bring your colleagues, pair up, create a team of maybe 4 people. The content will be heavily central around the Formula One data points that they have been shared. We have created the quest around those. The winners of the F1 Game Day League, well, so this is one instance of the league that is going on, will have some great prize with a Formula One hospitality package in Dubai, where this one is actually having its finals in the autumn. And for the winners in Stockholm, an Alexa is actually up for grabs for the winners, for the winning team, I would say. And the winning solution or metrics proposed could be considered for implemented by the Formula One Insights team in season 2023 and onwards. So there's some really interesting stakes that can be won here. That's what's on the table. What do you people need to do in order to join in on this? Bring a colleague, create a team, up to 4 people, join up, either pre-register or sign up on the day. I will share the link afterwards at the end of this presentation as well. But if you don't want to pre-register, you're absolutely fine to just show up at the desk, sign in, and we're more than happy to help you. Of course, there can be a little bit of a waiting time if you don't pre-register. So we happily would emphasize everybody, if possible, pre-register to make life a little bit more easier. You can join at any time in the day. The quest is going to be in 90 minutes, so we have 4 quests to complete in that time frame. So it's not a full day event, but it's a sprint. So highly recommend joining in. There will be a live scoring, so we'll have a scoreboard where you can see how your team is performing against other teams competing as well. And at the end of the day, we will have one winning team from Stockholm competing about that Alexa and earning their place in the league to be able to compete for one of those league finals, winning that package to the F1 hospitality package in Dubai. Cool. This is a sign-up page. Yeah. Any Q&A from the panel or from the chat?
We've done these F1 game days now at, I believe, London and Madrid and maybe also Paris Summit.
Paris, yes. We had Paris as well.
And the feedback that I got from attendees there was awesome. People really love this format. And these shorter quests, I think that's perfect for this type of event as well. So you were on site in London, at least, Andreas, right?
I was on site in Paris. I had a few colleagues of mine that was on site in London, but I was on site in Paris. And there's some really interesting part. We had a really good setup. There were a lot of people joining in. We had some really good conversation. As always, when it comes to these game days, it's good to be a little bit tactical, but I recommend being this as well. You have 90 minutes and you have 4 quests. A few of these quests takes longer than the other one. So as with everything, planning ahead is a key thing here. Starting to think out, okay, I have one that might require a little bit more time than the other one. Should I maybe start up in the beginning? Which one of these tasks can I actually run in parallel? And can we maybe split the work across us as a team? And all of this is absolutely possible. And it's going to come down to your strategy, how you want to operate as a team in order to compete on this one. And we have plenty of good engagement on this when we run this in Paris and when we run this in London. And of course, we are there to help you out in sort of figuring out, okay, nudge you in the right direction. But this is a competition. We will solve the problem for you. We will be there to help. And it's up to you as a team to really drive this. So we are really looking forward to it. But it's been great experience in London and Paris.
Oh, that's really cool. And one of my personal favorite things we're doing at AWS is running game days. I'm a big, huge fan of game days, because having that hands-on experience, or gaining that hands-on experience in a really risk-free environment, is super cool, I think. So do check out the F1 game days at the summit when you get there, and plan when to do it. You said around 90 minutes. Is that what it takes?
Exactly. For those of you who have been joining in on a game day before and knows a little bit of the experience, this is similar to this, but we are now condensing it to 90 minutes, 4 quests that you're completing in that one. It's bespoke content, so it's content that you haven't seen before. This is a brand new experience that we're doing. So highly recommend joining in and experience this new format of it.
That's very cool. All right, so I want to jump from that into breakout sessions, because we have a lot of great breakout sessions for the Stockholm Summit this year. I'm going to bring up something that's quite hard to read, but just to give you that sense of how much content we actually have for you. So in the builder track, we have 6 different rooms full of content throughout the day. So in total 36 sessions for you to choose from and to join. So if you want to do that F1 game day, make sure to pick a spot in during the day that fits in the breakout session agenda as well. And throughout these sessions, we have everything from content that is suited for developers, to architects, to data scientists, and so on and so on. So do check out the agenda. I'm going to post a link in the chat. And this is now a segment into one of the sessions that we have at this summit. And Yasir, I'm going to go over to you and let you explain a bit about the session that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Gunnar. So I'm presenting a session on storage. It's ST01. It's towards the end of the day in Hall 6. So on Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about storage service features and new launches we had at reInvent 2021. So I'm not just going to talk about the constant innovation we have at AWS, nor am I going to talk about how to, yes, partly I will talk about how to innovate faster and safely by choosing the right storage service in the cloud. But I'm most excited about being joined on Wednesday by Thomas Hagen. He is a VP at VO. He's a leader in VO technology, and he is going to be sharing with us how they're using AWS and how they're leveraging S3. And in that, it's not so much about the pace of innovation we have, but really, I'd like to present, as with some of our other builder sessions, it's how you can learn from others, from other customers who have gone the path before, the path that you may be just starting today.
That's really cool. And I think having that customer part of the session is really great as well. I've seen that customer story, and really looking forward to learning more about what they built using storage services on AWS.
Likewise.
So please repeat when your session is and the session ID for the people listening.
So my session is ST01. It will be in Hall 6. It kicks off at 15:55 to 16:40. So that's just 5 minutes shy of 4.
That's the last slot in the agenda then for people joining. That's a great way to stop or to end the day at the summit, I believe. Cool. Very cool. Thank you for that, Yasir. Now I want to switch over to you, Jessica, to talk a bit about what's happening at the summit from your point of view.
Yeah, sure. What is not happening at the Startup Loft? We have a smacked agenda over the day. So first of all, the Startup Loft is going to be a dedicated place in the expo area. And it's going to be a full day agenda of fantastic sessions that are co-hosted by some of our amazing startups. So yeah, you can see the agenda here, and it's actually back to back throughout the day.
It might be hard to see even because there's so many sessions, but
exactly. Yes, you can see the full agenda on the webpage and also in the app. So don't be afraid if you can't read it here. What I think is really exciting about this is that we talk about a lot of different interesting topics here. And of course, this agenda is very biased towards startups, since this is what we focus on here. But I still think that there are a lot of topics that might be very relevant for both partners and larger companies to join the startup loft here and see. So, for example, one of my favorite sessions is throughout the lunch here. You see sustainability hour starting from 11:30 to 11 o'clock until 11:55. So we're actually going to be hosted by two of our amazing startups, Shoreline and Tibber, focused on sustainability solutions. And they will talk about how they are using AWS to actually create a better future. So very excited about this sustainability hour, and I hope you guys are as well. And of course, we're also going to have more technical sessions. So we're both going to talk about AI and machine learning and how to get started with using data for insights. One really exciting session that I want to highlight is the session number 10 here, the one with regulated industries. So we're actually going to be joining by Northmill. So Northmill is actually a bank that is fully on the cloud. So they are going to talk about how can you actually run regulated and compliant workloads only being on the cloud. So that's a really exciting session, which I think also can be relevant for other companies than just startups. If you look a little bit lower on the agenda as well, you can see an exciting session that is going to be on Web3 and blockchain. So we are actually going to be joined by the co-founder and COO of Morales Web3 technology. And we're going to talk about how a Web3 and blockchain company can actually build, innovate, and scale on AWS. What kind of tools and services should you use? How do you architect to be able to scale such a company in the cloud? And you will also be able to meet them and ask some questions afterwards in the exciting topic of Web3 and blockchain. So that's a few highlights from the Startup Loft. Hope you guys are as excited as I am for the summit overall, and that you check in the Startup Loft and join us for some of the sessions.
And where do people find the Startup Loft at the summit?
Great question. So we're going to be in the middle of the expo, just next to the Deep Racer, actually. So I don't think you can miss us, to be honest.
All right, that's great. So do check out the Startup Loft at the Stockholm Summit, and they start out early and run sessions throughout the day. And you also have some pods in the Startup Loft as well, I believe. So not only sessions, people can do other things at the Startup Loft. Cool. All right. And I think this brings us to me, I guess. I actually have something to share as well. I'm just going to bring that up. We have, if I find it, there we go. We have something called the AWS Community Lounge. And this is something I'm really excited about because the AWS community, as I hope you all know, it's super vibrant in the Nordics. We have a lot of great community members doing lots and lots of great stuff. And the Community Lounge is a place for community members to hang out during the summit, to meet other community members, maybe learn more about what the community is doing with the different user groups spread out across the Nordics, what they're doing, and how you can get involved either by attending meetups or perhaps even taking part in helping out, running meetups, hosting meetups, and so on. But at the Community Lounge, we're also doing sessions. So we have 5 sessions from 5 different community members that are then during breaks, in between breakout sessions, they are doing these community sessions. And we're starting off with a session on using machine learning to do loan underwriting decisions. A super exciting session talking about how machine learning can help in making decisions for a company called Cred. Then moving on to having a session on using infrastructure as code using AWS CDK with Aritra. We're doing a session on using the AWS Serverless Application Repository and combining that with AWS CDK. So super technical stuff by Igor. Before Janne from Finland joins us to talk about data analytics on AWS using Glue and Athena. Before finally, we have one of our AWS heroes, Anurag, joining us to talk about single table design with Amazon DynamoDB, which is also a super technical topic, but brought to you in a way that I think is consumable for everyone building on AWS. As long as you've heard about DynamoDB, I think you can learn a lot from that session. So those are the sessions we're doing in the community lounge. I'll be there throughout the day. When I'm not somewhere else, some of my colleagues from the developer relations team will be there as well, and basically a lot of people from the community. So check that out as well. We're not competing with the Startup Loft. We're complementing the Startup Loft, perhaps.
Gunnar, I'm just curious, like this community lounge, is this something that community something we can also join, or is it for everyone? How does it work? Like, do we get some more information on this AWS community around here?
Yeah, well, the AWS community is basically something that's not driven by AWS. These are community members, technical community members who are doing exciting things with AWS. They are themselves running meetups. They are running events that focuses on AWS. So we are there to support them maybe, but they are doing everything themselves, and really impressive things that they're doing. And it's a great way to learn about AWS. And so if you want to learn more about AWS, check out the AWS communities, the user groups that are available and so on, and get involved. Join a meetup and perhaps learn more about AWS, make some friends, and hopefully have a great evening or whatever it might be together. So check out the community lounge. You'll get a lot of more information about how the community works when you get there, of course.
Yeah, sounds super exciting.
Cool. So now I think I want to talk about some other session. So since you just asked me a question, I'm going to ask a question back to you. What is your session about at the AWS Summit?
Yeah, I have the very most interesting session actually on the summit. Well, my session ID is BI01, and I talk about how you can transform your data into, consumable information using our machine learning powered business intelligence platform. So why am I talking about this session? I mean, we all can agree that, with this, especially with the pandemic that we have seen around us in the last 2 years, a lot of digitization has happened around us. And as a result, we have created so much data. So I see customers who talk about these data, but, manually exploring that data and identifying important information is like a very huge challenge as a human. So by attending my session, you will actually learn how you can use the inbuilt machine learning capabilities of our BI service called QuickSight, and find these insights without requiring any machine learning expertise. So this is like, you do not, even if you are like 100 level to whatever level you are, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can just use this service and get those important insights without requiring any machine learning expertise. So I think that's very interesting. And I have a very, very good hands-on demo actually included. So I would encourage you to attend the session. It's actually at the first session in the morning from 10 to 11 in hall number 7. So yeah, you're welcome to it.
That's a great hall, by the way. Both me and Laura as well, I think, is in hall 7 later throughout the day. I had the luxury of watching one of your dry runs, and it's a really exciting session. I liked it a lot, and just being able to do these kind of things with data without actually being a data scientist or having machine learning experience, I think that's very exciting. We know that companies today, they are creating and storing so much data, and making use of that in a simple way, well, that's something that people will learn if they attend your session.
Yes, definitely.
So let's repeat the session ID once more.
Yeah. So my session ID is BI01. So, and actually, I also encourage all of you all to download our AWS Events app if you have not done yet, because you can actually favorite these sessions that you're going to attend in this app, and it gets added to the calendar. So you are having a track of it, and then you can also provide your feedback, because of course your feedback is very important. So please don't forget to download our AWS Events app before you come to the session, I would say.
That's a great reminder. It's available in Play stores and app stores everywhere for download. Now, Laura, I mentioned you in Hall 7, so I think maybe dive into your session a bit.
Yeah, maybe you should just stay in Hall 7. It's where it's at, clearly.
Yeah.
So my session is Architecting for Sustainability. So it's at 1 p.m. The ID is AR02. But essentially, this session is all about what you can do on AWS and with your architecture to be more sustainable and essentially help the planet. And I think it's fair to say that we kind of understand what sustainability means in kind of general kind of concepts. We all kind of, told use less energy, electric cars if you can, recycle more. And we kind of see it a lot in, sort of when we're shopping, buying clothes, maybe even when we put sort of flights, you'll see which one's the most carbon neutral. But I don't think it's really been that common until now, although I feel like we're really kind of going for it at the moment. But actually what you can do from a sort of technical and IT thing. And actually, because in reality, if you think about data centers, they consume a huge amounts of power. And so actually it's a great area that if we can actually minimize that energy usage, it's actually going to have a massive impact on sort of the world and sustainability. So my talk is all about, as the technical community, so whether solutions architects, developers, whoever, what you can actually do from an architecture point of view to lower your carbon emissions and be more sustainable. So it is a technical talk. There's obviously, sort of broader concepts around sustainability, but actually it's very much like what you can do from compute with storage, switching up some of your hardware. So actually it's very much like from how you can actually re-architect your current AWS infrastructure. But also I kind of want to say that a lot of it is very small changes. So it's not actually this big, massive thing. And I think sometimes you might think, oh, I don't, it sounds like it's going to be a big thing to kind of be more sustainable and to re-architect. But actually, it's really small things that you can do that if everybody kind of does these small things, will have a huge impact kind of on our energy consumption and obviously then be much better for the environment. So I think it'll be a really good talk to kind of get the conversation going and hopefully then inspire people to make these ultimately very small changes, but will have huge impacts.
This is definitely a topic where we're seeing a lot of buzz around for obvious reasons. And as you mentioned, it doesn't have to be really big changes to what you're building. And it ties together with some of the other things that people are already doing based on the well-architected framework, for instance, with right sizing, things like that. And this, of course, ties together with that new pillar of the well-architected framework as well, the sustainability pillar.
Yeah,
but I'm guessing you'll cover that in the session.
Yeah, I'll cover that, and also the new carbon footprint tool as well. So kind of, if you want to do some sort of research before you go, there's a tool in your AWS account that you can actually see how much your current sort of architecture in your AWS account is using, how much energy it's using. So maybe have a look now, and then once you've listened to my talk and you're going to make some changes, you can see the difference that it would make. So go and play with that.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Jessica, I think this resonates well with your startup customers, I believe. Sustainability is something that we hear a lot from startups.
Absolutely. And the tools that Laura mentioned here is something that we normally talk with our startups about. Super important that our customers know that these exist. And it's been an investment from AWS side to get this in place for the customers to actually get in control over what kind of usage they actually have and how they can improve. Great tools, and excited to see your session there, Laura. Very, very exciting.
And that was AR02, right?
AR02, 1 p.m. in Hall 7.
That's cool. And if you are in Hall 7 for AR02, you might just stay in that hall for the next session, which is AR03, my session. So you don't have to leave Hall 7, just stay there, and you can join my session when I'm going to talk about resilient and well-architected applications using chaos engineering, which is, of course, my favorite topic. It ties together with one of the earlier sessions that day, Are You Well Architected, where we basically build out an application and improve on it using the well-architected framework and learnings from a few of the pillars, and then use chaos engineering experiments to basically make sure that the application is resilient to the failures we throw at the application. So that's my session, full of demos for 45 minutes. So join that at 13:55, 1:55 p.m. AR03. All right, so now, if you just joined us and you're wondering, what is this? Well, the logo at the top might be a small hint. This is a show where we're talking about AWS Summit in Stockholm, coming up this Wednesday. If you are in Stockholm or anywhere near Stockholm, do join us there. Register, links are in the chat, and join us at Stockholmsmässan in Älvsjö for a full day of cool AWS sessions and happenings throughout that day. Now, I want to go back to Yasir, because I know you have other exciting things to share with us happening besides your session.
Yes. So this year we're hosting an innovation corner at the Stockholm Summit for the first time, I believe. So it's going to be jam-packed with AI, IoT, and innovative solutions, which is being built by leveraging AWS. There'll be interactive demos. So come along and have fun at the innovation corner. We have 4 demos, I believe. So I think we have a big pharma company doing really cool stuff with AI. And they'll be demoing their manufacturing prototypes with the aim of minimizing production waste. We have a super cool demo by PlayPulse. They'll be presenting a gaming bike that offers a game-changing combination of powerful technology, immersive content. So just imagine taking fitness at home to the next level. Another one that's personally a favorite of mine will be presented by Buddywise and Access Communication. So they will be demoing, and again, this is a hands-on, so you can, come along and test things yourself. They'll be demonstrating an automated PPE detection or slip fall detection. And Buddywise is going to be showcasing its latest developments of AI in and detecting these type of, dangers within the workplace in near real time. And of course, they're going to be integrating with Access's new IoT suite to achieve that near real time with very little code type of solution in a workplace. So they together are coming. They're coming together to redefine safety at the workplace. Another personal favorite demo that's going to be there will be by Imagilabs, and Imagilabs are there to demonstrate apps and devices to teach young girls and how to code Python in a fun and engaging way. So really looking forward to actually starting the day off at the Innovation Corner. So please come along and experience the demos yourself.
And that's really cool. So getting to see things built on AWS by customers in action. And this is the Innovation Corner in the Expo.
Yes.
Very cool. All right. And with that, I think we're back to Andreas.
Yes, we have. We have some more exciting stuff to cover that we haven't covered. I would say one of the most exciting things. Deep Racer will be coming back to the Stockholm Summit this year. So for those of you that don't know what Deep Racer is, it's an autonomous racing for cars that is 1/18 the size of a real race car. So we have these amazing cars that is you race around the track. But I think telling is one thing, but I think showing is a whole other level. Gunnar, do you have the clip ready?
I have. Let's go.
AWS Deep Racer is the fastest way to get rolling on your machine learning journey. Developers of all skill levels, including those with no prior machine learning experience, can take advantage of Deep Racer by completing hands-on training to build reinforcement models to race for prizes and glory. The Deep Racer ecosystem teaches you the fundamentals of reinforcement learning with educational resources, an easy-to-use console, and real self-driving RC cars. Get started quickly with interactive tutorials and free workshops. Walking step by step through the process, Deep Racer helps you build your first reinforcement learning model in minutes. Go hands-on with the AWS Deep Racer console, an environment to train and evaluate your machine learning models. This console environment helps build the foundational skill sets to develop reinforcement learning for any use case. Once your model is created and trained, the real fun begins in the AWS Deep Racer League. Developers compete monthly by submitting their best models to new tracks in an attempt to climb the leaderboard, win prizes, and earn a qualifying spot to race for the AWS Deep Racer Championship Cup. For even more fun with reinforcement learning, see your models at work in the real world with the AWS Deep Racer device, a 1/18 scale fully autonomous car. This allows you to observe and evaluate your model's decision-making in a physical setting. Shift your machine learning journey into high gear and start racing today with AWS Deep Racer.
That's really cool.
That's awesome. That's a really good framework of it is. So 1/18 of a race car, that's what we're having it. So that's what you're seeing live on site. The camera is at the front, so it's high at one end. That's where the camera is. The camera is tracking its progression across the track, there are a lot of different strategies we can deploy here. Follow central line, increase speed, decrease speed, keeping all wheels on the track, for instance. So basically, when you're working with this, you have a lot of sensors and input coming in. And we have a workshop that we will run that will help you to get trained and get enabled in order to race here. So we will be running two 90-minute workshops that will be running, one starting at 11:15 and one starting at 1 p.m., where we will lead you through hands-on how you actually build this model, what you need to do, what are the different input variables you can get, what are different strategies. And then we'll giving you the tools to train that model. So you can getting the input, doing the training, build that model, then you can take that model over to the racetrack that you will find right next to the startup booth in the main hall, load that model onto a car and see it race around the track. So it's an ample opportunity to get started with deep learning and really dive on and get hands on that one. So what it is reinforcement learning that you can actually get in the driver's seat and write your own reward function for, and you will have expert help on site helping you to think and what to consider, these kinds of things. It's also very important when you have actually created it that you actually can test it out, because testing it out in the virtual environment is one thing, but it's a completely different thing to test it out in the physical track. So find in the area, we'll have a Deep Racer track. It's going to be open from 8 a.m. in the morning and 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Each racer gets 3 minutes to race around the track. The fastest lap time you get within those 3 minutes is the one that goes up on the scoreboard and that you are competing with. You can, of course, compete multiple times, but one trial is actually the first 3 minutes. You can, of course, do multiple laps, and the quickest one is the one that will be counted. You can either bring your own model, or one that you created in the workshop, or you can use one of our pre-trained model that we have option for you. So if you haven't joined the workshop, you haven't created your model, or if you haven't created before, you can join us on the track, You can borrow one of our pre-trained models and just run it around, and you can still elaborate with speed, with speed adjustments and these kinds of things. The car drives itself, but you're in the driver's seat when it comes to adjusting the speed. And for the advanced model, the speed is built into it. So there's a lot of opportunity here to try things out, to really understand what's going on under the hood when it comes to reinforcement learning. The current world record is 9.7 seconds, and held by a guy called the D-Bro from the UK, from Ireland. So join us at the track and see if you can beat 9.7 seconds. There are also a Deep Racer arcade. So right next to the arcade, to the Deep Racer track, there will be some arcade machines being put up. So they might look like traditional arcade machine, but there's a little nudge to this one. So you will get in the you will have a steering wheel, you will have a pedals and everything. You will start running running around the track with this arcade, and then we automatically match what style of your racing around the track matches one of the pre-configured models that we are having. So the first lap is a training lap. That's when we analyze how you are driving. The second lap is when you are racing the model, the autonomous model, that is racing the closest to how you are driving. So then it's head-to-head with the AI/ML model that you are now racing. And of course, the best time goes also up on the leaderboard on these ones. So it's you against the machine, racing it out, either in the physical cars, in the arcades, or in the virtual circuit that we have in. Of course, there will be prizes attached to this one as well. So for the three fastest racers winning on the physical track with the Deep Racer, they will win the Deep Racer car. The top two racers also have a spot in the virtual regional final that is going to be held sometime during the autumn. And top three winners in the regional final will win a spot at the global summit that has on-site in reInvent in Vegas come this autumn. So lots of interesting activities to do when it comes to Deep Racer. Attending the workshop, racing on the track, doing the arcades ones as well. Come and join us, and I think we'll have an awesome time on this one. So Gunnar, are you bringing your best model over to the track?
I'm quite. What did you say the world record was?
9.7 second.
9.7. Yeah. I think my best model is quite far from that, so I can bring it, but I don't think we have time to run that model, to be honest. I need to, well, maybe 2023, we'll see. But I think I think it's exciting with Deep Racer because we've seen that we have quite a few great racers from the Nordics competing in the league. We've seen, I think in the finals, was it last year or the year before? We had several people from the Nordics joining in the finals, both from Norway and Finland, I believe.
Yeah.
So there are some great deep learning talent in the Nordics, and might be based on the type of companies people work with, or they just find this as a super interesting topic to learn more about. And I think this is a great way to get started using these types of machine learning models as well, to do it in a fun way by racing cars. We all love to race cars, I think.
It's a really good one. We have been listening into the community. We know there are going to be a lot of Nordics community races joining in on this one as well. And I think it's also an ample opportunity to talk amongst the racers in the community, talk with each other, talk with them also for learning what does actually reinforcement learning look like, and how can we translate this to other use cases as well. So yeah, really looking forward to those off-track chats as well as we always have.
Yeah. Has anyone else on this stream now tried Deep Racer?
Yeah, I've done it a lot with because like you said, for sort of learning and education purposes. So I used to look after the UK education customers, so like universities, colleges, and we used to do a lot of events with sort of university and college students, and it is a really great way to kind of get people involved as well. And also I think quite often you think, oh, like if you're doing sort of autonomous vehicles and, you know, self-driving cars, it's going to be really complicated. But actually that, like, the amount of Python is like actually very little. You can get something working in a couple of lines. So it's actually, it's a great way to sort of start off with, you know, even if you're kind of new to kind of AWS or Python or anything. It's actually anybody can kind of get started. So it is, I think it's just really fun as well. Let's be honest, like seeing a car drive around is just super fun. So I would definitely recommend it to anybody.
We have a question in the chat. Can they deliver deep racer cars to Europe now? Do you know, Andreas? Can you order them?
Yes, we can. We can order them in Europe. I'm not exactly sure what the particularities are in the different countries, but yes, we can deliver deep racer cars in Europe, so you can get them in Europe.
That's great. Cool. All right, we are starting to wrap up. I think we've gone through most of what we on the stream are doing, at least, but I have a couple of questions that perhaps you can help me with. So first off, I know there are a lot of other things happening. For instance, we have the Ask an Architect booth, which is something that we have at all of these summits. Can someone please explain what that is and how can attendees benefit from that? Open for anyone.
Yeah,
maybe an architect.
I can start and you can follow, of course. Somebody can add on to it. So basically, there's so many things going around, and then you want someone where you can ask questions about, let's say, even the summit or even what you're doing in your daily life. And I think that's where Ask an Architect booth is going to be super useful, because we are going to be there, solution architects in the booth. So please come up and ask any questions related to summit, outside the summit, or a good place to, I would say, get in contact, and then even get in touch with us later. So we have the specialist architect, but also I think the Ask an Architect booth has different specialization counter as well, like AI, ML, IoT, containers. So yeah, I mean, please come in touch and get answers to your questions. I don't know if anyone else is also going to be there, but I will be there in one of the booths for Ask an Architect for some time. So yeah, looking forward to you.
Yeah, to add to that, so I'm not going to be on the Ask an Architect this time, but I have done it at other sort of summits. I think it's really important because obviously, like myself and others here as solutions architects, we look after customers, and obviously those customers get access to Ask an Architect every day. But if you're, say a small business or individual who doesn't have a dedicated solutions architect, it's a really great opportunity to just come and ask questions about things that you're building, and that you might have a question like, it can be literally anything. You can't get something to work, or how can I basically optimize, I don't know, performance in something. So bring, I've seen people bring like architecture diagrams and bring notes with them. It's just an opportunity to just talk to basically technical experts, to just get advice on your architecture or new services. And you can kind of, as I said, you can ask anything, but it's just a really great opportunity to have a chat about what you're kind of building and how to basically better your architecture.
I think that's great.
And I think, Laura, you're touching on a super good pro tip on that one. Sketch out the idea. Sketch out the idea of this you want to talk about. Bring your architecture, have the idea jotted down or something. Sketch it out, bring it up, and we can talk about it. And we'll get a lot of good conversations going on that one.
Yeah.
Formalize your idea. Boom, we are there at the desk talking with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Then I also know that we have things around training and certification. And training and certification is, of course, different type of trainings that we offer on AWS and ways to get certified. We have, what is it now, 13 certifications, something like that. 12, 13, 14, something like that, AWS certifications. And at the summit, we have training and certification booth, and there are also trainings or certification sessions happening during the summit. So check that out as well if you want to learn more about AWS, or you want to try out your skills by doing one of these specialized certifications that we have. And then I also want to mention the AWS Village, the whole AWS Village in the Expo. And that is an area where we have a bunch of different booths with different domains, topics, where you can then talk to AWS experts on those topics and learn more about those. And I'm not sure exactly how many booths we have, or pods, or whatever it is called, but there's a bunch. We have a big village. We were supposed to have a guest on to talk more about the village, but time and all that now preparing for the summit. But the village, you'll see it in the expo. It's one big part of it. And in the expo as well, of course, we have to mention that there's going to be a bunch of AWS partners there as well. Partners that can help you build on AWS. So go through their booths, see what they're doing, learn from them as well, and get acquainted with them. They are an important part of both the summit and being able to build on AWS, of course. Now, to wrap things up, I want to go around and just ask you all to mention something. It can't be your own session or the thing that you're doing at the summit. Mention something that people shouldn't miss at the summit this year. So I might put you on the spot now, but well, that's what we're here for, and that's my role in all of this. So let's just pick someone at random. We'll start with Yasir, since you dropped off for a second there. So
yeah, sure. So I think for me, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm doing the innovation corner, right? I think it's one that I wouldn't miss. I'd want to go along and see those demos, because they are bleeding edge. There'll be IoT, AI/ML, and all built by leveraging AWS. But I can't help but also, hint that, drop by the F1 game day. I'm also going to be supporting that, hopefully. I'd also recommend a deep racer, but I'm running out probably time. Gunnar's not going to be happy. But those sessions, I think they're really cutting edge AI/ML, and probably you can tell by my enthusiasm, super big on IoT embedded systems and AI/ML. So yeah, there are going to be a lot of sessions on AI/ML this year. I'm super excited. I'm super energized. I mean, I think it hasn't been mentioned, but it's going to be the first year we do this in person in a while, and yeah, I'm really excited to see you there and meet you in person, and we can talk about the architecture.
That's great. Thank you, Yasir. Jessica, you're next.
Yeah, that's a really hard question, Gunnar. I mean, there are so many amazing sessions, but what I definitely would say is, of course, the keynotes, super important to not miss. They're going to be amazing. Then I also would like to highlight a session that, since I'm not running it, but it's in the Startup Loft, but that would be the Web3 blockchain session, where you can actually learn about what Web3 blockchain is, if you're unfamiliar to it, and then listen to a company actually doing that. So I think that can be super exciting, and definitely something that I won't miss. Then I really look forward to seeing the Deep Racer as well. So yeah, it's going to be a great day for sure.
I think you made it easier for yourself picking a Startup Loft session there, Jessica, but we'll allow it. All right, Laura, you're next.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit left field. I would recommend the running robots in the cloud session. So I think there's obviously lots and lots of sessions about, how to be well architected and your kind of more standard kind of services, storage, networking, compute. But I actually think some of the more sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, unusual services are actually really, really interesting. And I don't know about everybody else, but I would probably say in my sort of day-to-day life, I probably don't really get to use these services. And I think, though, robotics is a really interesting field, and it's not something that I personally work in, but I find it really interesting how robots are sort of helping us, in many different fields, from, retail, with like Amazon, to, sort of more space, for example. And I just think that's going to be a really interesting talk. So it might not be, say, useful in your day-to-day sort of architecture and sort of your business, but I think just from a sort of interest point of view, that's one that I want to go see, just to kind of learn something different. So that's, I like that. Robots in the cloud.
Yeah, inspiration sessions. Yeah. I think those are important as well. So that's R001, 11:10 in Hall 3, with my teammate Sohan doing that session. So check that out. Andreas.
Yes. So yeah, a lot of interesting things going on. Keynote, absolutely going to be super important to look at that one and seeing it. And I mean, startups is always going to be near and dear to my heart, being an ex-startup founder myself. So I will absolutely be coming and hanging out in the startup village to see a few of those sessions as well. So yeah, looking forward to the startup village.
Cool. And then
So-
finally,
I guess I'm the last one. Of course, you all covered everything. That's my favorite. But really, I'm a very techno geek kind of a person who likes to see things visual, tangible. And I think for me, the interesting is really the innovation corner, to see the demos and feel the demos, try the demos yourself. I think that's really exciting for me, and I think for everyone too. Apart from, of course, F1 and deep races, which are definitely interesting. There's this one session which I will definitely recommend is, so when I started my journey on the cloud, I always come back and ask question that, am I doing it correctly? Am I doing it right? And that's where I feel the session called Are You Well Architected? It is the session AR01, just after my session in Hall 7 again. But it's super interesting session, and I think it's for everyone who is starting their journey or who is already on the cloud, to understand how you can continuously review your architecture and improve your architecture, and feel confident about your architecture on cloud. So I would really recommend you to go and listen to this session. I did listen to the dry run for the session, and I was really intrigued, so I would really encourage everyone to attend that one.
that's great. Our AR01 Hall 7 once again at
It's
11.
kind of coincidence, I think. Everything in Hall 7. Is it anything happening in other halls? No.
well, we had Run Your Robots in the Cloud, which is at the same time, so competing with that session. And then finally, I have to give one example as well, or something, a highlight. And for me, that is FM01 in Hall 7. Once again, full stack web and mobile development with my friend Stefano doing that session at 3 p.m. 1500. I think that's going to be a great session. And I'm going to add one more session, MA04 in the auditorium at 1555, SaaS architecture patterns. SaaS is definitely a topic that's near to my heart for sure. So with that, I think we've reached top of the hour. So we're going to wrap up. I want to thank all my guests for joining. Thanks to all of the viewers that joined us for this hour. And we're looking forward to seeing many of you at the summit on this Wednesday, in Älvsjö, Stockholm, the Stockholm's Mässan. So if you haven't already, register, join us at the event. And with that, thank you all very much, and bye-bye.
See you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.